Have you ever felt like there's an invisible wall between you and the financial abundance you've been working toward? As if something beyond your control keeps pushing your breakthrough just out of reach every single time you get close? What if I told you that this exact moment, right now, as you're reading these words, is not a coincidence, but a divine appointment that has been orchestrated for your financial liberation? Joseph Murphy taught us that there are no accidents in the universe, only divine synchronicities, and your presence here is proof that the universal intelligence has already begun the process of dismantling every barrier that has stood between you and your prosperity. Think about it for a moment. How many videos could you have clicked on today? How many distractions tried to pull your attention elsewhere, yet something deeper than conscious choice guided you here, and that something is the voice of your subconscious mind responding to a cosmic shift that's already underway in your favor. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. For too long, you've watched money that should have been yours slip through your fingers. Opportunities that had your name written all over them somehow went to someone else. Doors that seemed to open wide suddenly slammed shut at the last possible moment. Has this ever happened to you? That gnawing feeling that your financial harvest is being held somewhere just beyond your reach, trapped in an invisible realm where your prayers and efforts can't seem to penetrate. You've done everything right. You've worked hard, stayed faithful, kept a positive mindset, yet the abundance you deserve remains frustratingly elusive. This isn't your imagination, and more importantly, this isn't your fault. What you're about to discover might surprise you because the teachings of Joseph Murphy reveal a profound truth that most people never grasp. There is a spiritual dimension to prosperity that operates according to immutable laws, and when these laws are properly understood and applied, they create irresistible momentum toward financial breakthrough. Right now, in this very moment, you've entered what Murphy called a sacred interval, a rare opening in time where the invisible forces that govern abundance are realigning themselves in your favor. The subconscious mind, which Murphy identified as the gateway to infinite intelligence and unlimited supply, is being recalibrated as you absorb these words. Stay with me until the end, because what's happening right now is far more significant than you realize. While you've been struggling and striving in the visible world, there has been a parallel reality, a spiritual dimension, where your prosperity has been under siege. Ancient patterns, inherited limitations, and unseen resistance have been working overtime to keep you locked in cycles of lack and limitation. But today marks the end of that story and the beginning of something entirely new. The very atmosphere around you is shifting, and the treasures that have been hidden in darkness are about to be forced into the light of your physical reality. Joseph Murphy understood something that most financial advisors and success coaches completely miss. There is an active resistance in the universal field that specifically targets your prosperity, and this resistance doesn't operate according to the rules of logic or fairness. You've experienced it firsthand, haven't you? That check that was supposed to arrive last week but got lost in the mail. The client who was absolutely certain about signing the contract then ghosted you without explanation. The promotion that everyone agreed you deserved, suddenly given to someone less qualified. The bank account that somehow drains faster than it fills, no matter how carefully you budget. These aren't random occurrences or bad luck. They're symptoms of something far deeper operating beneath the surface of your visible reality. Murphy called this the law of reversed effort, where the harder you push against certain obstacles, the more firmly they resist you. But what he revealed in his deeper teachings goes even further. There are patterns embedded in the collective consciousness, inherited belief systems that run through family lines like invisible software programs, continuously executing commands of limitation and scarcity without your conscious awareness. These programs don't care about your education, your work ethic, or your positive affirmations. They operate in a dimension where your willpower has no jurisdiction, which is precisely why you've been able to achieve success in other areas of your life. Yet prosperity remains this elusive, frustrating puzzle that never quite comes together. Think about the last time money was about to break through for you. Can you remember that feeling, that sense of anticipation, the plans you started making, the relief that was almost tangible? And then, at the final moment, something inexplicable happened. The deal fell through. The opportunity evaporated. The timing somehow missed by just days or hours. This is the signature of financial warfare. It's not that abundance never comes toward you. It's that something consistently intercepts it right before delivery. Murphy taught that the subconscious mind is like soil that grows whatever seeds are planted there. But what happens when that soil has been contaminated by generations of lack consciousness? What happens when there are roots beneath the surface that choke out every seed of prosperity you try to plant? If this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. The next video I release might be exactly what you need at your moment of breakthrough. This content finds people when they need it most. Today represents what Murphy would have called a moment of decisive spiritual action. A breaking point where the accumulated pressure of your desire for change finally exceeds the resistance that's been holding you in place. This isn't about trying harder or thinking more positive thoughts. This is about recognizing that a battle has been taking place in the invisible realm of consciousness, and that battle has just reached its climax. The very fact that these words are resonating with something deep inside you is evidence that a transformation has already begun. Your subconscious mind, which Murphy identified as the seat of all power and creativity, is receiving new instructions right now. The old programs are being overwritten. The ancient patterns are losing their grip. Now I want to go even deeper into this hidden truth, because what I'm about to share will completely reframe how you understand the relationship between your mind, your words, and your material reality. Write in the comments, "My breakthrough is here," and as you type those words, feel the shift happening inside you. Murphy always emphasized that the universe is not neutral. It's actively responsive to your dominant mental states and the quality of consciousness you maintain. But there's something even more profound happening right now that goes beyond simple mental conditioning. Ancient wisdom texts, including Isaiah 45, speak of a power that goes before you to level mountains, shatter gates of bronze, and cut through bars of iron. This isn't metaphorical language. It's describing an actual spiritual technology that operates in the realm of causation, the invisible dimension where all material manifestations have their origin. When these texts promise that treasures hidden in darkness and riches stored in secret places will be given to you, they're revealing a principle Murphy spent his entire life teaching. There is an infinite intelligence that knows where every resource you need is currently located, and it has the power to move those resources directly into your path. What most people don't realize is that while you've been struggling in the visible world, there has been simultaneous activity in the invisible realm working on your behalf. Murphy called this the subjective mind, or the universal subconscious, but ancient traditions referred to these forces as angelic assignments, specific intelligences, dispatched with your name encoded in their mission. Right now, as you're absorbing these words, there are movements happening in dimensions you cannot see with physical eyes. Barriers that have stood for years are trembling. Gates that seemed permanently locked are beginning to creak open. The resistance that has fought your prosperity is losing its grip, not because you're trying harder, but because something in the fabric of reality itself has shifted in your favor. This is the hidden truth that changes everything. Your breakthrough doesn't depend solely on your personal effort or even your faith alone. There is an orchestrated intelligence working through what Murphy called the law of attraction and the law of supply, but operating at levels far beyond your conscious awareness. Every person, situation, and resource that needs to align for your financial transformation is being moved into position right now. The person who will offer you that opportunity is being prompted. The decision maker who will approve your request is being influenced. The money that belongs to you is being released from wherever it's been held. This isn't wishful thinking. This is how the universe actually functions when you align with its deeper currents. Psalm 84 contains a promise that should radically shift your perspective. No good thing will be withheld from those who walk uprightly. Read that again carefully. Not some good things, or eventually you might receive good things. No good thing will be withheld. This means that every financial blessing, every opportunity, every resource you need for your purpose is already marked with your name in the universal ledger. The question has never been whether you deserve it or whether it exists. The question has always been what's blocking the delivery, and that's precisely what's being dismantled in this moment. The journey you've been on, with all its frustrations and delays, has been leading to this precise breaking point where the old patterns finally lose their power and the new reality can rush in. Behind the scenes of your visible circumstances, there has been a battle for your prosperity, and that battle just reached its decisive moment. Type in the comments, "I receive what's already mine," and notice how something inside you responds to those words. Murphy discovered something that ancient mystics and modern quantum physicists are only now beginning to validate. The spoken word carries a creative force that literally rearranges the molecular structure of your reality. When you speak with conviction and authority, you're not just making sounds, you're issuing commands to the subconscious mind, which then sets in motion invisible forces that must obey. Right now, there is a comprehensive release happening in the unseen realm. Every blocked blessing that's been held in spiritual escrow is shaking loose from its restraints. Every delayed payment that's been stuck in bureaucratic limbo is suddenly accelerating toward you. Every harvest you sowed in tears, every investment you made in faith, every seed you planted that seemed to disappear into the ground, all of it is being forcibly returned to you with the compound interest that the universe owes you for the delay. Think about what's happening behind the scenes right now in the invisible architecture of your life. Frozen bank accounts are melting, opportunities that were locked away are thawing, destinies that seemed permanently blocked are liquefying under the heat of divine intervention. But here's what most people miss. This release requires your participation. Murphy taught that the subconscious mind responds to impressed feeling and conviction, not passive hope. The universal forces are moving on your behalf, but they need you to open your mouth and speak the reality you want to experience into existence. Your voice is not just sound, it's a vibrational frequency that programs the quantum field of possibilities. When you declare something with absolute certainty, you collapse multiple potential futures into one manifest reality. Your name is being mentioned right now in rooms you've never entered. Decision makers you've never met are being prompted to think of you. Conversations that will directly impact your finances are happening in boardrooms, offices, and private meetings, and your name is coming up. This isn't coincidence. This is the orchestrated intelligence of the universe responding to the shift that's occurring in your consciousness. But you must understand the technology Murphy revealed. Words spoken in faith create a magnetic field that draws corresponding circumstances to you. When you declare, "This is my week of sudden financial release," You're not wishing or hoping, you're legislating, you're issuing a decree that the spiritual atmosphere must rearrange itself to match. The moment those words leave your lips, something tangible happens in the invisible realm. Chains that have bound your prosperity snap. Gates that have blocked your advancement swing open. The very atmosphere around you shifts from resistance to reception. Murphy emphasized that the feeling tone behind your words matters more than the words themselves. When you speak with the settled knowing that what you're declaring is already done, the subconscious mind accepts it as fact and begins the process of materialization. Angels, or what Murphy might have called the creative forces of the universe, stand at attention. Because the cosmos responds to certainty, doubt keeps you circling, faith moves mountains, authority releases what's been held captive. This is the precise moment when everything changes, when the journey shifts from struggle to flow, when what was blocked becomes accessible. Put in the comments, "I speak my breakthrough into existence." Feel the power in those words as you write them. There's a reason Murphy spent so much time teaching about the unseen mental and spiritual laws that govern material reality, because most people live their entire lives completely unaware that there are active forces working against their prosperity. Right now, a spotlight is being turned on in the invisible realm, illuminating every hidden obstruction that has dared to interfere with your financial flow. These aren't abstract concepts or superstitious ideas. Murphy understood that consciousness operates on multiple levels simultaneously, and what appears as bad luck or unfortunate timing in the physical world often has roots in deeper unseen dimensions. Every force that has been siphoning your resources, diverting your opportunities, and entangling your destiny is being exposed and named in this moment. The power of naming something cannot be overstated. Once you identify an enemy, it loses half its strength because it can no longer operate in secret. You need to understand something crucial. If you've watched money that was absolutely destined for you mysteriously vanish, if doors have slammed shut at the precise moment you were about to walk through them, if you've witnessed people with less skill and dedication sail past you while you remain stuck in place, you are not cursed, forgotten, or cosmically unlucky. You are in a legitimate battle that operates according to laws most people never discover. Murphy called this mental and spiritual causation, the recognition that every physical effect has a corresponding cause in the realm of thought and belief. But what he also revealed, though often in veiled language, is that there are accumulated thought patterns, collective belief structures, and even what could be called spiritual entities that feed on lack consciousness and actively work to perpetuate it. This isn't about blaming invisible enemies for your circumstances. It's about recognizing that transformation requires addressing the root cause, not just the symptoms. You've been fighting on the wrong battlefield. You've been trying to solve a spiritual problem with physical solutions, attempting to overcome invisible resistance with visible effort alone. That's why you felt so exhausted, so frustrated, so close to giving up. The battle was never meant to be fought that way. Murphy taught that the real work happens in consciousness first, and that's exactly where the shift is occurring right now. Every pattern that has kept you cycling through the same financial struggles is being interrupted. Every hidden agreement with scarcity that you didn't even know you'd made is being nullified. Every force that has stolen from you is being commanded to return what it took with the interest you're owed for the time it held what belonged to you. The impact of this revelation changes everything about how you approach your financial journey. You're not just working harder or thinking more positively. You're engaging with the actual mechanics of manifestation, the hidden architecture behind reality itself. Now let me show you exactly how to Leverage this moment of exposure to completely dismantle the resistance that's been holding you back. Write in the comments, "I see what was hidden." Acknowledging this truth is the first step to freedom. Murphy often spoke about the law of mind and how patterns get embedded in consciousness across generations. But what he was describing goes even deeper than most people realize. There are actual blockages operating in the realm of causation, ancestral embargoes that attempt to enforce poverty on entire family bloodlines. These aren't just bad habits or limiting beliefs you picked up from your parents. These are structured agreements in the spiritual dimension, gatekeepers stationed at the threshold of your prosperity, forces specifically assigned to intercept what's already been approved for you at the highest level. If you've ever wondered why certain financial patterns seem to repeat across your family line, why your grandfather struggled, your parents struggled, and now you're struggling in eerily similar ways, it's because there's an inherited program running in the background of your consciousness that most people never even detect, let alone address. The story of Daniel reveals something that completely transforms how we understand delayed blessings. When Daniel prayed, the answer was released immediately from the source, approved, stamped, and dispatched. But for 21 brutal days, an opposing force intercepted the angel carrying that answer. The money was approved, the blessing was sent, but delivery was fought and blocked in transit. This is the missing piece that explains so much of your frustration. You've been doing everything right, praying, believing, working, maintaining faith, yet nothing manifests. It's not that your request was denied, it's that something intercepted it between approval and arrival. The same delaying spirit that fought Daniel's breakthrough has been working overtime against yours, creating a pattern of almost there that keeps you perpetually on the edge of manifestation without ever crossing the threshold. Murphy would frame this as resistance in the subconscious mind, accumulated thought patterns that create a counterforce to your conscious desires. But the mechanics are the same. There's an active opposition that doesn't want you to break through because your breakthrough threatens its existence. Every time you get close to financial freedom, this force intensifies its efforts. Every time abundance is about to flow, the gate slams shut. Every time the answer is on its way, it gets rerouted or delayed. Understanding this changes everything about your strategy. You're not waiting for God or the universe to finally decide to bless you. The blessing was approved long ago. You're fighting for the delivery to complete its journey. The decisions you make in this moment, the authority you claim, the resistance you break through, these determine whether the angel carrying your answer finally breaks past the opposition and reaches you. Drop in the comments, "My delivery is breaking through." Claim what's already been sent your way. Murphy taught that there are layers of consciousness, what he called the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious minds, but ancient traditions identified these same layers as different heavens or dimensions of reality. Right now, every spirit of delay that's been hiding in what the mystics called the second heaven, that intermediate realm between divine intention and physical manifestation, is being exposed and paralyzed. These are the forces that specialize in the word later. They don't necessarily say no to your prosperity, they just ensure it never arrives on time. They're the reason you've been stuck in that maddening cycle of just enough and almost there for years. Your family knows this pattern intimately. There's always just enough to survive, but never enough to thrive. You get almost to the breakthrough, then something inexplicable pulls you back. This generational curse, this inherited ceiling, is being shattered right now. The embargo that's been enforced against your bloodline, the invisible sanctions that have limited your family's wealth for generations, is being lifted completely in this moment. But here's what you need to grasp. Exposure alone isn't enough. These forces must be actively rebuked and commanded to release what they've stolen. Murphy emphasized the power of definitive mental commands, the importance of speaking with authority to the subconscious mind. Every invisible wall that's been erected around your finances is being revealed and reduced to rubble. Every roadblock that seemed permanent is crumbling. But the most critical revelation is this: every thief that has stolen from your harvest, every devourer that has consumed your increase before it could reach you, is being identified by name and ordered to return everything it swallowed, with interest. This isn't metaphorical language. In the realm of consciousness and spiritual law, theft is real. Resources meant for you have been siphoned off. Opportunities destined for your hands were redirected. Harvests you sowed in faith were consumed before you could reap them. The journey you've been on suddenly makes sense when you understand this hidden dimension. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't lack of faith or insufficient effort. There was an actual adversary working against your financial transformation, and that adversary operated in the shadows where you couldn't see it. But the moment you bring light to darkness, the moment you name what's been operating in secret, its power collapses. Murphy called this withdrawing power from negative thoughts, but the principle is identical. What you expose, you disempower. What you identify, you can command. What you rebuke with authority has no choice but to obey. The impact of this single revelation will ripple through your entire financial reality, dismantling structures that have stood for decades in your family line. Type in the comments, "I take back what was stolen," claiming your right to full restoration. Murphy discovered that the subconscious mind doesn't respond to timid suggestions or half-hearted affirmations. It responds to commands issued with unwavering conviction. This is the moment when you stop asking and start declaring. Stop hoping and start demanding. Stop waiting and start legislating your reality from a position of spiritual authority. Open your mouth right now and speak these words with every ounce of certainty in your being. No more delay, no more blockage, no more spiritual traffic on my blessing, my money, my harvest, my breakthrough. Locate me now. Feel the shift as those words leave your lips. That wasn't a prayer request, that was a royal decree. The moment you speak with that level of authority, spiritual chains literally hit the floor. Prison doors that have held your finances captive fly open. Gates that seemed welded shut and crack down the middle. This is the technology Murphy taught, but that most people never fully activate because they approach it from a place of begging rather than commanding. For too long, you've been whispering when you should have been roaring. You've been observing the battle from the sidelines when you should have been in the middle of it, swinging the sword of your spoken word. Murphy emphasized that you are not a victim of circumstances. You are a creator of circumstances through the thoughts you think and the words you speak. But there's a deeper truth here. This is no longer the time for passive survival mode. You've been enduring the war, taking hits, absorbing losses, and barely holding on. That defensive posture ends right now. This is the moment you transition from survival to total victory, from defense to devastating offense. Every invisible chain that has kept you bound to limitation is about to be obliterated. Every financial prison wall that has mocked your prayers, laughed at your efforts, and stood unmoved by your tears is about to be demolished so completely that not even the memory of it remains. The transformation happening in this moment isn't incremental, it's cataclysmic. You're not gradually improving your mindset or slowly building better habits. You're experiencing a complete rupture between the old reality and the new one. The decisions you make right now, in this sacred interval, will determine whether you step through that rupture into total freedom or slide back into the familiar patterns of struggle. Murphy taught that there are moments in every person's life when the veil between the invisible and visible worlds grows thin, when what seems impossible becomes suddenly achievable. You're in one of those moments right now. The impact of what you speak in the next few minutes will echo through your entire financial future. The journey shifts here from endless striving to supernatural acceleration. Write in the comments, "I finish this fight today." Declare your shift from survival to complete victory. There's a specific zone of torment that Murphy would have recognized as one of the most frustrating mental states a person can experience: the almost zone. You've been living there for far too long, almost out of debt where you can see the finish line but never quite cross it. Almost promoted, where everyone acknowledges you deserve it but somehow it goes to someone else. Almost financially free, where you taste independence, but something always pulls you back into dependence. Almost living in abundance, where you glimpse what life could be like but can't seem to sustain it. This is not random misfortune. This is a calculated pattern, a specific form of spiritual and psychological warfare designed to keep you perpetually on the threshold without ever crossing it. The cruelty of this pattern is that it gives you just enough hope to keep trying, but never enough breakthrough to actually succeed. It's exhausting, it's demoralizing, and it ends today. Murphy taught about the law of reversed effort, where struggling against something actually strengthens its hold on you. The almost pattern operates on the same principle. Every time you get close and then get pulled back, it reinforces a deeper belief that breakthrough isn't really possible for you. But here's the revelation that changes everything. Isaiah 10:27 speaks of an anointing so powerful that it doesn't just loosen the yoke, doesn't merely crack it or bend it, it completely destroys it. That word destroy in the original text means to be reduced to nothing, to cease to exist entirely. Whatever has held you captive up until this moment, whether it's a mental pattern Murphy would identify as subconscious programming or a spiritual force ancient traditions would call a yoke of bondage, has absolutely zero legal right to even approach you today. The anointing that's activated in this moment doesn't negotiate with your limitations. It doesn't gradually improve your situation. It obliterates the very foundation of the problem. Think about what this means practically. The debt that's been haunting your family for generations, gone. The ceiling that's kept you at a certain income level, no matter how hard you work, shattered. The mindset that whispers, "This is just how it is for people like us," silenced forever. Murphy would say the subconscious is being completely reprogrammed, but the effect is the same. Total transformation. What held you yesterday not only doesn't hold you today, it can't even get close enough to try. The journey you've been on, with all its frustrating near misses and heartbreaking almosts, was actually preparing you for this decisive moment when the pattern doesn't just weaken, but gets utterly destroyed. The impact of this truth is hitting you right now because something deep inside recognizes that the old cycle just lost all its power. Put in the comments, "The almost ends now," marking the exact moment your pattern breaks forever. Murphy understood something that most spiritual teachers miss. There's a difference between wishing for change and commanding it into existence. Your voice carries more power than you've been taught to believe. Right now, you need to lift that voice with absolute authority and speak these words like you mean them. Every chain seen and unseen break right now. Don't whisper it. Don't mumble it half-heartedly. Roar it from the deepest place in your spirit. This isn't a polite request to the universe. This is spiritual dynamite. When you speak with that level of conviction, you're not suggesting that maybe things could improve if circumstances align. You're detonating every hidden restraint that's been wrapped around your finances. Murphy called this impressing the subconscious with definiteness of purpose. But the effect transcends psychology. It enters the realm of pure creative power, where words become the hammers that shatter invisible chains. Now we're moving into what could be called violent grace, the kind of divine intervention that doesn't politely knock but kicks down doors. Release these decrees with everything in you. Every hidden financial barrier that's been erected around your life collapses into dust right now. Every manipulating hand that's been twisting your money, rerouting your resources, and sabotaging your increase is severed at the wrist. Every glass ceiling that's been hovering over your wealth, those invisible limits you keep hitting your head against, explodes into a million unrepairable pieces. The cycle of almost that has tormented you for years, is not paused or postponed, it's terminated permanently. And the anointing that Murphy would describe as the creative power of infinite intelligence is melting every yoke of lack off your life like fire melts wax. Feel what's happening inside you as you speak these words. There's a resonance, a vibration that starts deep in your chest and ripples outward. That's not emotion. That's the frequency of breakthrough colliding with the frequency of bondage, and bondage always loses. The decisions you're making in this moment to speak with authority rather than timidity, to command rather than beg, to decree rather than hope, these decisions are literally rewiring the neural pathways in your brain while simultaneously rearranging the spiritual architecture around your life. Murphy taught that thought is the only power that can produce tangible results, but thought combined with spoken word becomes an unstoppable force. What you're experiencing right now is the transformation from passive victim of circumstances to active creator of reality. The journey has shifted, the battle has turned, and every force that thought it could keep you bound just realized it made a fatal miscalculation. Write in the comments, every chain just broke, sealing what just happened in the invisible realm. There's a principle Murphy taught that most people never fully grasp. Momentum isn't built gradually over time. It's created instantly through decisive mental and verbal action. Right now, you're going to speak words that create unstoppable momentum in your financial reality. Say this with violent faith, with the kind of conviction that doesn't allow for doubt. This week, every financial chain snaps. Everything withheld crashes into my hands. Approvals I've waited years for arrive. Money locates me from all directions. Open doors refuse to close, and delay dies completely. Did you feel the shift in the atmosphere as those words left your mouth? That wasn't theatrical. That was the universe responding to a command issued from your true spiritual position. Murphy would say you just impressed the subconscious mind with an irresistible instruction, but what actually happened goes beyond neurology into the realm where thoughts become things and words reshape reality. Here's what most people never discover. You are not a beggar petitioning some distant deity for scraps. You are not negotiating with the universe, hoping it might grant you favor if you're lucky. You are seated in a position of authority that Murphy called the throne of consciousness, where you legislate reality through the power of your spoken word. You're not asking anymore. You're enforcing. You're not hoping things might change. You're commanding change into existence. The strongholds that have stood against your prosperity for decades, structures so massive and ancient you thought they were permanent, are collapsing under one breath of authoritative declaration. This is the hidden truth that transforms everything. The atmosphere itself is bowing to you right now because you've finally understood your true position. Think about what's happening behind the scenes in dimensions you cannot see. Every time you speak with this level of authority, angelic forces, or what Murphy would identify as the creative intelligence of the universe, snap to attention and begin executing your commands. Financial doors that were locked are being pried open. Bank accounts that were frozen are thawing. Opportunities that were hidden are being revealed. People who need to say yes to you are being prompted. Contracts that were delayed are suddenly being expedited. This isn't wishful thinking or positive psychology. This is the actual mechanics of manifestation that Murphy spent his life studying and teaching. You have more power in this. moment than you've had in years, because you finally stepped into the truth of who you are, not a victim of circumstances, but a creator of them. The decisions you're making right now to speak with authority rather than timidity are literally creating a new trajectory for your entire financial future. The impact will be undeniable. Type in the comments, "I legislate my breakthrough," claiming your authority in this sacred moment. Murphy taught that there are moments when the universal intelligence finishes its evaluation and issues what can only be described as a final verdict. That moment has arrived for you. The cosmic court has completed its investigation of your case, reviewed every prayer you've prayed, every tear you've cried, every seed you've sown, and every ounce of faith you've maintained through impossible circumstances. The judge of all the earth, that supreme intelligence Murphy called infinite mind, has just slammed down the gavel with one thunderous declaration: release it all. This isn't a promise that something might happen eventually. This is a divine release order, officially stamped with your name, activated in this precise moment. What was delayed, what was held back, what was frozen in bureaucratic limbo or spiritual resistance is being released immediately. Not next month, not when conditions improve, right now. But here's where this gets extraordinary. Your name is being spoken in rooms you've never physically entered, behind closed doors, where significant financial decisions are being made. Conversations are happening that will directly impact you. Decision makers you've never met are being prompted to think of you. Your file is being pulled from the bottom of the stack and moved to the top. Your application that's been sitting in pending status is suddenly being fast-tracked. That refund you'd given up on is being approved. That contract you thought fell through is being signed while you're watching this. Murphy would explain, this is the subconscious mind's ability to influence events across distance and time, but the experience is identical regardless of how you frame it. When the universal intelligence commands release, the physical world has no choice but to comply. Earth bows to heaven, matter yields to spirit, resistance dissolves before authority. Think about what this means for your immediate future. Somewhere right now, someone is making a decision that will benefit you. A payment is being processed. An opportunity is being created. A door is swinging open. All of this is happening in real time, orchestrated by forces that Murphy spent his life studying and teaching us to harness. The transformation occurring in this moment isn't just internal. It's creating ripples in the external world that will manifest as phone calls, emails, unexpected checks, surprise opportunities, and sudden breakthroughs. The journey you've been on has led to this convergence point where the invisible realm collides with the visible one, and what was locked in potential becomes actual reality. Behind the scenes, in dimensions you cannot perceive with physical senses, the machinery of manifestation is operating at full capacity on your behalf. Drop in the comments, "My name is being spoken," acknowledging what's happening right now in the unseen realm. Murphy often referenced invisible forces and intelligences that work on behalf of those who understand spiritual law, and ancient texts describe these same forces as angelic beings. But here's what's critical. According to Hebrews 1:14, these beings are not passive observers sitting on clouds strumming harps. They are active delivery agents with specific assignments, and they're carrying your address. Right now, at this very moment, there are supernatural couriers transporting checks to your mailbox, opening doors you didn't even know existed, canceling debts that have hung over you for years, shifting favor in your direction among people who matter, and forcing closed pathways to swing wide open. Murphy would describe this as the subconscious mind's ability to arrange circumstances, but the mechanism is identical. Invisible forces are moving visible resources toward you with precision and speed. What most people don't realize is that these forces respond to commands, not requests. You have to shift your entire approach from begging to summoning, from hoping to demanding, from wishing to legislating. This is throne room authority, the kind of spiritual positioning Murphy taught when he spoke about impressing the subconscious with definiteness and conviction. Say these words right now with absolute certainty. I summon every withheld resource into my hands now. Feel the power in that declaration. Now go deeper. I summon every delayed blessing. I summon every forgotten payment. I summon every stolen harvest to manifest immediately. You're not asking permission. You're issuing a royal summons to everything that belongs to you, but hasn't arrived yet. This is how the universe actually works when you understand your true position in the spiritual hierarchy. Think about what you just did. You didn't politely request that maybe, if it's not too much trouble, some blessings might come your way. You summoned them, you commanded their appearance, you legislated their manifestation. Murphy taught that the subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. It simply accepts what you impress upon it with feeling and conviction. When you summon resources with absolute authority, the subconscious mind accepts that as reality and begins orchestrating circumstances to match it. But this goes beyond psychology into metaphysics. The very fabric of reality responds to authoritative declarations spoken by someone who knows their true spiritual identity. The decisions you're making right now to speak with this level of certainty are creating shockwaves in the invisible realm that will manifest as tangible results in the visible world. Money that's been held somewhere is receiving the summons. Opportunities that were hidden are being revealed. Resources that were blocked are breaking free. The impact of this moment will become undeniable in the coming days. Write in the comments, I summon what's mine, activating your authority to call forth what belongs to you. Now we move into what Murphy would call scientific prayer, not begging, but commanding reality to align with divine intention. Release these royal decrees with the full weight of spiritual authority. Every approved payment that's been held somewhere in bureaucratic limbo hits your account this week. Not eventually, this week. Every buried opportunity that seemed dead and gone rises with resurrection power. What was buried is coming back to life. Every gate that rejected you, every door that slammed in your face, every institution that turned you away, now swings open and welcomes you because your status just changed in the spiritual registry. Your name has been marked as favored and approved in dimensions where these decisions are actually made. And those angelic delivery agents we talked about, they're escorting money and contracts straight to your physical address right now. Murphy taught that when you speak with this combination of faith and authority, you activate what he called the law of mental equivalence. The universe must produce an outer experience that matches your inner conviction. Here's a revelation that will transform how you see your current financial situation. Most of your money isn't actually lost. It's stuck. It's sitting in processing limbo. It's trapped in someone's inbox who keeps meaning to get to it, but hasn't. It's caught in approval pending status, circling the drain of bureaucratic delay. It's in the hands of people who keep saying next week, but never follow through. This is stagnation, not loss. And stagnation responds to one thing: authoritative command. Today, the silence that surrounded your finances gets shattered. Your voice becomes the steering wheel that redirects the flow of your financial future. Murphy discovered that the spoken word, when charged with emotion and conviction, penetrates barriers that logic and effort cannot touch. When you speak directly to your stagnant resources and command them to move, something shifts in the field of consciousness that governs material manifestations. Think about the transformation happening right now. You're not passively waiting for someone to remember you or for systems to finally process your paperwork. You're actively commanding movement. You're speaking to the money itself, to the opportunities themselves, to the very mechanisms that have kept things frozen. This is the hidden technology Murphy spent decades teaching, that consciousness is causative, that words shape reality, that authority breaks through resistance. The journey from financial struggle to breakthrough isn't about working harder or waiting longer. It's about understanding your true position and speaking from that place with unshakable conviction. Behind the scenes, in realms you cannot see, every word you're speaking with authority is creating corresponding movements in the visible world. Put in the comments, "My money is moving now," declaring the end of stagnation and the beginning of flow. Murphy was obsessed with Job 22:28, and for good reason. It contains one of the most powerful spiritual laws ever recorded. You shall decree a thing and it shall be established for you. Read that carefully. Not wish for a thing, not hope for a thing, not pray softly and timidly for a thing. Decree it like royalty issuing commands that cannot be disobeyed. This is the technology of manifestation that most people never activate because they approach it from a position of weakness rather than authority. Right now, speak directly to every cent that's stuck in processing, trapped in approval systems, or held by people who keep delaying. Command it. Be released immediately. Jump out of wherever you're stuck and locate me right now. Feel the shift as you speak those words. You're not requesting, you're legislating reality from your position as a co-creator with infinite intelligence. Now here's where Murphy's teachings get truly profound. Money isn't just paper or digital numbers, it's energy, and energy responds to directed consciousness. In the spiritual realm, everything has awareness and responds to authority. Speak directly to your money as if it's a living entity that can hear you, because at the level of consciousness Murphy operated from, it can hear you and it must obey. Say this with complete certainty. Money that is owed to me, find me today. Money that has been delayed, move at the speed of light. Money tied to my purpose and calling, run toward me and overtake me. This isn't metaphorical language. This is you exercising dominion over the material realm through the power of spoken word combined with unwavering conviction. Think about the transformation in how you relate to money. Most people spend their lives chasing money, begging for it, worrying about it, feeling powerless before it. But Murphy taught that you're not meant to chase supply. Supply is meant to chase you when you understand your true relationship to infinite abundance. The decisions you're making right now to speak with this level of authority are fundamentally rewiring your consciousness and simultaneously sending shockwaves through the invisible realm where all financial transactions originate. Behind the scenes, money that belongs to you is receiving the command. It's breaking free from wherever it's been held. It's accelerating toward you. The impact of these words spoken with conviction will manifest as unexpected checks, surprise payments, forgotten refunds, and opportunities that seem to come out of nowhere but were actually summoned by the authority you just exercised. Type in the comments, "Money obeys my voice," claiming your dominion over financial resources. Murphy understood something that quantum physics is only now beginning to validate. Time is not fixed. It's malleable, responsive to consciousness, and can be accelerated or compressed through focused intention. Right now, you're not just breaking chains, you're shattering demonic calendars, obliterating satanic schedules, and destroying every lying timeline that's been written to keep your money perpetually late and your breakthrough forever delayed. These invisible schedules have kept you stuck in a rhythm of not yet and almost for far too long. But here's the revelation. You have the authority to break time itself and force supernatural acceleration into your story. When you speak with conviction and understand your true position, you're not subject to the tyranny of linear time. You can collapse years into weeks, compress decades of struggle into days of breakthrough. There's a specific form of warfare that most people never identify, and Murphy would have called it negative mental conditioning around timing. You felt it, that sense of being trapped in a manipulated clock where everything takes exponentially longer than it should. Answers that should arrive quickly crawl at an agonizing pace. Opportunities show up consistently after the deadline has passed. Approvals that should take days somehow drag on for months or years. This isn't bad luck or poor timing. This is spiritual time warfare, a calculated attack designed to wear you down through delay. The cruelty of this particular form of oppression is that it makes you feel like you're moving forward while ensuring you never actually arrive. But today, that manipulated timeline is being destroyed completely. Think about how this has played out in your life. How many times have you been just days or hours too late? How many times has the perfect opportunity presented itself after you'd already committed? Elsewhere, how many times has the money arrived just after the bill was due? This is the signature of time warfare, keeping you perpetually out of sync with your blessings. Murphy taught that the subconscious mind has no concept of time in the way the conscious mind does. When you impress it with the conviction that acceleration is happening now, it begins to arrange circumstances to match that reality, regardless of what seems reasonable in linear time. The transformation occurring in this moment is breaking the back of delay forever. Your journey is shifting from the slow lane to supernatural speed, and behind the scenes, every mechanism that kept you late is being dismantled. Drop in the comments, "Time bows to my decree," declaring your authority over temporal limitations. Murphy believed deeply in the principle of restoration, that the universe keeps perfect accounts and nothing is ever truly lost. Joel 2:25 contains one of the most powerful promises ever given: I will restore the years the locust has eaten. Every year stolen from you through delay, every season lost to stagnation, every opportunity that passed while you were held back, all of it is being restored right now. And here's what most people miss about restoration. It doesn't happen slowly or proportionally. The infinite intelligence Murphy spoke of can compress an entire decade of blessing into a single day. 5 years of accumulated harvest can arrive in 5 minutes. Every stolen second can be overridden when time itself is forced to bow to divine will. This isn't about slowly making up for lost ground. This is about supernatural acceleration that catapults you past where you would have been if nothing had ever been delayed. Now, we're going to permanently cancel delay from your story. Speak these words with violent faith, with the kind of conviction that shatters invisible structures. Every demonic timeline over my money is smashed to pieces. Every satanic schedule of later is cancelled forever. Every spiritual embargo slowing my cash flow is lifted and destroyed. Divine acceleration has completely taken over my story. Feel the finality in those words. You're not pausing delay, you're executing it. Murphy taught that the subconscious mind responds most powerfully to declarations that carry emotional intensity and absolute certainty. When you speak with this combination of authority and conviction, you're not just changing your mental state, you're rearranging the architecture of your reality. Think about the transformation that just occurred in the invisible realm. Timelines that were written to keep you perpetually behind schedule just got erased. Calendars that had your breakthrough scheduled for years from now just burst into flames. The entire system of delay that's been operating against you lost its jurisdiction the moment you cancelled it with authority. Murphy discovered that most people live as slaves to circumstances because they never realize they have the power to override those circumstances through directed consciousness. But you just exercised that power. The decisions you made to speak with this level of certainty created a rupture in the timeline. The old schedule no longer applies. Behind the scenes, acceleration forces are now operating on your behalf, compressing what should take years into weeks, what should take months into days. The impact will be so dramatic that people around you will struggle to explain how things change so quickly for you. Write in the comments, delay is dead forever, sealing the permanent end of procrastination in your financial story. Murphy taught that there are appointed seasons in every person's life, windows of opportunity where the universe aligns in your favor with such precision that what seemed impossible becomes inevitable. You've just stepped into one of those appointed weeks. This isn't an ordinary 7 days where you grind and hope for incremental progress. This is a week when heaven hits the fast-forward button on your entire story. Months of progress that should have taken careful planning and patient execution get compressed into single days. Blessings that normally would slowly walk toward you suddenly sprint. This is your week of supernatural head-spinning acceleration where the rules of normal time and normal process no longer apply to your situation. Amos 9:13 contains a promise so radical that most people can't even imagine it. The days are coming when the plowman will overtake the reaper and the planter will overtake the one treading grapes. This is describing a pace so fast that harvest comes before you've even finished planting, where results overtake effort, where blessings pile up so quickly you can't keep up with them. Things are about to happen so fast your head will swim. One blessing will crash into your life before you've finished processing the previous one. Opportunities will present themselves in such rapid succession that you'll struggle to choose between them. Money will come from so many different directions simultaneously that you'll lose track of the sources. This is the opposite of everything you've experienced. Instead of chasing breakthrough, breakthrough will be chasing you. Think about what this means practically for the next 7 days. Every morning you wake up, something unexpected and favorable happens. Every time you check your phone, there's news that moves your situation forward. Every conversation you have opens a door you didn't know existed. Behind the scenes, the machinery of manifestation is operating at maximum capacity, orchestrating circumstances, aligning people, moving resources, creating opportunities at a pace that defies logical explanation. Murphy would say this is the subconscious mind working with infinite intelligence to produce results that match your dominant conviction. The transformation you're experiencing isn't gradual improvement, it's quantum leap after quantum leap. The decisions you've made in this moment to believe for acceleration have activated forces that don't understand the word slow. Your journey just shifted from walking pace to warp speed, and the impact of this 7-day window will create momentum that carries you for months to come. Put in the comments, "This is my week of acceleration," claiming what's already begun in the invisible realm. Murphy was fascinated by the number 7. He recognized it as a symbol of completion and divine order throughout ancient texts. In the next 7 days, you're going to witness breakthrough outrunning every barrier that's been in its way. Your finances will snap into divine timing like puzzle pieces falling perfectly into place. Approvals that have been stuck in bureaucratic gridlock will suddenly slide through with inexplicable ease. People who forgot about you, connections that went cold, relationships that faded, opportunities that seemed dead will suddenly remember you and take action. Doors that slammed in your face and rejected you will fling themselves open and welcome you through. Money that's been stagnant, sitting dormant in accounts or caught in processing, will break free and run toward you like it's been summoned. And here's what seals it. You will hold visible, tangible, undeniable proof in your hands that divine acceleration just took over your story. This isn't wishful thinking. This is prophetic declaration backed by the laws Murphy spent his life studying. But now, we need to go deeper. Because while all this acceleration is happening, there's a foundation issue that must be addressed permanently. Some battles aren't fought on the surface where you can see them. They're fought deep in the roots that were planted generations before you were born. Murphy understood that the subconscious mind is influenced not just by your personal experiences, but by inherited patterns, what Carl Jung called the collective unconscious. There are invisible agreements that were made in your family line decades or even centuries ago, silent covenants with limitation and scarcity that continue to operate like software running in the background of your consciousness. These roots of poverty, these deeply embedded patterns of almost but never quite, don't just need to be trimmed or managed. They must be cut at the source and burned so completely that they can never regenerate. Think about your family's financial history honestly. Have you noticed patterns that repeat across generations? The same struggles your grandparents faced, showing up in your parents' lives and now in yours. The same ceiling that no one in your bloodline has ever broken through. This isn't coincidence or bad luck. This is root-level programming that's been passed down like DNA. Murphy would call this ancestral thought patterns impressed upon the race consciousness. But the experience is the same. You're fighting battles that didn't originate with you. The transformation you're experiencing right now must extend beyond your personal finances to the very foundation of your family line. Behind the scenes, generational agreements with lack are being identified and nullified. The decisions you make in this moment to cut these roots will liberate not just you, but generations that come after you. Type in the comments, "I cut the roots today," declaring the end of inherited limitation in your bloodline. Galatians 3:13 contains a legal declaration that Murphy would have recognized as one of the most powerful statements ever made about breaking ancestral patterns. Christ has redeemed us from the curse of the law. That word, redeemed, means purchased back, legally reclaimed, debt paid in full. Every generational pattern of lack that's been running through your family line like contaminated water through old pipes is being uprooted and burned right now. Every inherited mindset of limitation, those unconscious beliefs that whisper, "People like us don't get ahead," is being destroyed at the root. Every financial ceiling that's hovered over your family for generations, that invisible barrier no one could break through, is shattering into dust. And those ancestral agreements with scarcity, those silent contracts made long before you were born that decreed we will always struggle, are being annulled completely. Murphy taught that you can break free from race consciousness and collective thought patterns by impressing new truths on the subconscious mind. This is that moment. You're not just changing your personal mindset, you're rewriting your entire bloodline's relationship with prosperity. Now we come to the moment that seals everything we've done. This isn't just another affirmation or positive thought. This is a prophetic seal that locks in the transformation. Stand up right now wherever you are. Place your hand over your heart and feel it beating. That heartbeat is proof you're alive in this appointed moment. Now decree these words with fire, with every ounce of conviction in your being. I command every blocked financial blessing to be released this week. Say it again, louder. I command every blocked financial blessing to be released this week. Feel the finality in those words. That wasn't a request. That was a royal decree that just echoed through dimensions you cannot see. What was blocked is now released. What was delayed is now accelerating. What was denied is now approved. This week, these next 7 days, you will receive visible financial manifestation that carries your name on it. The transformation you've experienced in this time together isn't theoretical or abstract. Murphy always emphasized that spiritual principles must produce tangible results, or they're worthless. Behind the scenes, everything we've spoken, every chain we've broken, every root we've cut, every decree we've released, has created corresponding movements in the invisible realm that must manifest in the visible world. The decisions you made to speak with authority rather than timidity have activated forces that are already in motion. The impact will be undeniable. Your journey just reached its turning point, and what happens in the next 7 days will confirm everything you've declared. Drop in the comments, "It is sealed and done," marking this moment as the completion of your breakthrough declaration. If you made it all the way to this moment with me, that's not an accident. Most people click away when truth gets too close to their comfort zone, but you stayed. That tells me something about your spirit. You're not just looking for entertainment or quick fixes. You're genuinely hungry for transformation, and that hunger is what separates people who change from people who just wish they could. I pour everything I've learned from Murphy's teachings and these ancient spiritual principles into this channel, because I know what it's like to feel stuck, to watch others break through while you're trapped behind invisible walls. If what we covered today resonated with you, if you felt something shift inside as we went through this together, then you need to subscribe. Not because I need the numbers, but because the next video I release might be the exact word you need to hear at your exact moment of crisis or breakthrough. This content finds people when they need it most. Leave a comment right now and just write, "This message was meant for me." When you type those words, you're not just engaging with a video, you're making a declaration that seals what happened here. And if this teaching served you, if it gave you clarity or hope or a weapon you didn't have before, hit that like button. It's a small thing, but it tells me you connected with what we built together today. Now, there's a video right here that takes what we just covered even deeper. It's about sustaining breakthrough once it arrives, because receiving is one thing, but keeping and multiplying is another. Click and continue with me. Over there, your 7 days of acceleration have already begun. Let's make sure you know exactly how to walk in what's been released.